Good morning, students, and welcome to your weekly walkthrough for the week of March 1st. If you go to Schoology and you select on week of 3-1, if you select week of 3-1, Youth Poet Laureates, you'll see the Read First document. You should read this first, and it will walk you through the work that is due for the week before each class, what we'll be doing during class, and then what you should be working on in the afternoon. So for example, our first class of the week, your companion poem is due, and also you need to have chosen the book that you're going to be reading. Remember, this is either a book of poetry or a novel in verse. If you haven't chosen one, talk to Ms. Bell for a recommendation or talk to me this afternoon. We will also fill out the attendance form, and we will share our poems. You will share your poems that you wrote as companion poems for the Emily Dickinson poem you chose. As always, we are a share by choice learning community, and so you do not have to share your poem that you wrote if you do not want to. This week we'll be focusing on the Youth Poet Laureates, and so our first class of the week, you'll be working in your small groups, your poetry pods, to explore the work of 4 Youth Poet Laureates. The afternoon is required, and you'll be working with your poetry pod to create a short film for the poem, or if you're a larger group, poems that your group chose. So just like last week when we did the Emily Dickinson poem short films, this week you'll choose a poem from a collection of Youth Poet Laureate poems, and you'll create a film for that. Remember, on Wednesdays, I'm available from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. For anything that you might need. For our second class of the week, your film will be due, and we'll have a Youth Poet Laureate Short Film Festival. Also, by the second class of this week, you need to have chosen the poem you'll be memorizing. Remember, the poem needs to be approved by me. We'll also take the attendance form, and then we'll review the afternoon. And in the afternoon, you'll be writing a companion poem to the Youth Poet Laureate poem you chose individually. It does not need to follow any structure at all. I want it to be around the same length as the poem you chose. Also, you should begin reading your book of poetry or your novel in verse. By the first class of next week, so a week from today, you should have read half of your poems. If you did not find a book, it is also fine to curate a collection of poems. You could do this by going to poets.org and choosing one of their collections, or you could find a poet you like and just Google a collection of their poems and read those. Basically create your own poetry book. If you do curate your own collection, then it should be approximately 40 poems if they're short poems, or 20 poems if they're longer poems. If you need help with that, just let me know. If you look in your assignments for this week, you'll see that the Youth Poet Laureate short film is due at the end of the week. The companion poem is due at the beginning of next week, and reading half of your poetry is also due at the end of next week. If you open up OneNote and you go to the content library and to agendas, you'll see our agenda for the first class of this week. There's the morning attendance form, and then there are a bunch of announcements. There's information here about a writing competition, about a leadership opportunity, about free art classes, and there's even some life advice in there for you. And then when you look to the Youth Poet Laureate exploration, you'll find those instructions in our project section in poetry. So you'll go to Content Library, projects, poetry, and then you'll find instructions for the week of 3-1 Youth Poet Laureates. And it will walk you through these instructions. What you'll do here with the people in your pod, or if you're working individually, you'll do it individually, is you'll watch a series of poems, and the links are here. And then after each poem in the chat, you'll answer the following questions. How did the poem make you feel? What language did you like? What do you want to know about the poem or the poet? And how does this relate to your life? And then you'll proceed to watch 3 more poems, and you'll answer the same questions in the chat. Then this afternoon, you're going to be checking out the anthology Between Starshine and Clay. You can find it here, and you can also find it here. Once you open it up, you're going to choose a poem that has meaning for you. I am not expecting you to read the entire 68-page document. Rather, if you go to the contents, my guess is that as you're looking through the titles of these poems, you'll find ones that interest you, and so you can go ahead and go to those pages, read those poems, and find one that you like. That's it for this week. I'm looking forward to working with you.